let's dive into today's presentation. I'm going to share my screen here and get it all set up. Today, we are going to talk about investor onboarding. So if you've joined me for previous presentations, this is going to be the third presentation in the series. But I'm going to touch on what the previous steps were. So don't worry about that. I'll get you all caught up. But again, we're going to touch on investor onboarding for max engagement. If you have any questions, make sure to go to the chat box or the Q&A box. We'll be sure to answer those during the presentation or at the very end. There's my contact information right there if you want to reach out to me. But really, this investor onboarding is part of a 5-step system that is necessary if you are an active investor, if you have a syndicated portfolio, if you're trying to raise money from other investors. This is a necessary 5-step system that you need to have in place to convert investors with ease, okay? Also, this 5-step system actually will help you avoid landmines that can actually turn investors away. We want to attract them, not repel them. And it'll also help you streamline your onboarding program, your engagement program with your investors for maximum effectiveness. Now, if you don't know me and my story, this is me and my crazy career. This is the whole reason why I invest in real estate, more specifically passive real estate. I started real estate investing in 2002 purely by accident, bought a house with a significant other, relationship fell apart, and I had a house that needed a dire rehab on it, and taught myself everything from drywalling to electrical to plumbing, some things that I should not have been doing. Anyways, fast forward 11 months, I sold that house for more money than I made in my day job that had me traveling 80 hours a week. And I was completely bitten by the real estate bug from there. And so my husband and I, who's here in the picture, we did several more flips to get live-in flips, house hacks together. We're actually still living in our last flip. We still do this today. And then, but we didn't have like income. We couldn't break those shackles of like paycheck dependence. And so that's when we discovered buy and hold real estate. So that was kind of our transition to buy and hold real estate. Like many investors, we hit a level of achievement for the amount of income we could make with single family homes. So we got into multifamily property, then self-storage. And then we had a baby girl and we wanted to have our time back. So that's where we got into passive investing. But in the interim there, I did both passive investing as well as active investing. And for those of you who've known me for quite a while, I have actually have director experience at the investor relations function, where I've raised in 26 co-syndicated deals. In 2 years, was able to 3x the investor list and 19x the investor capacity. So the system that I'm showing you here does work. It might seem very simplistic, but that's okay. Complexity is the enemy of execution. So simple is okay, guys, as long as it's effective. Now, we actually implement parts of this system here at passiveinvesting.com, okay? Some of the things I'm going to show to you today might deviate a little bit from what we actually do here at passiveinvesting.com, because we've iterated upon it, and have scaled, and we have like more systems in place behind it. But if you're just starting out, this is I'm going to show you just the bare bones of what you need to do that is going to be super impactful for your business. All right. So again, I mentioned we're tackling investor onboarding. Now, this is not this is like the third step in the process, right? So for anybody who's been in sales, right, you start with, how do you find your leads? Okay, how do you go onto a site and harvest people off of other sites, off of social media, and bring them into your world? Okay, we talked about that spider webbing. Okay, once they hit your landing page, now they're not even a lead yet. Okay, when they hit your landing page on your website, they're still just somebody who's kind of interested in you and wants to check it out. So you have to have a very powerful lead magnet to convert them from just somebody that's within your purview to an actual lead. Until they hit your list, that is when they are a lead, not before. Okay, so I know a lot of people go to conferences and they're like, oh man, I drummed up like 30 or 40 leads. Until they are actually on your list, They are not a lead. They're just an acquaintance. All right. Step number 3, the get to know you system. Okay. Andrew Davis talks a lot about how to hold conversations with investors for maximum impact. That's kind of the get to know you system. There's some other things that I like peppering in there as well. But once we have that investor call, so we have the lead, okay, they hit our list, we start converting them into a potential prospect, right? How do we do that? That's what those two systems do, the get to know you system and the onboarding system. Until you can get them to take an action with you, they are not a prospect. And that's what this investor onboarding system is meant to do, is to get the person to take a specific action that you are directing them and telling them to do. Hopefully it is to invest in one of your deals. However, people need about 7 touches, high quality touches, before they are willing to buy, before they're willing to invest. Now that's data from Harvard Business Review. Sorry guys, I had a cold this last weekend, so still struggling a little. So if that investor onboarding system sits in between our get to know you system and our nurturing system, let's just recap the step before so we're all clear. And then we'll get into the meat of it today. So again, that get to know you system, that's where we have that introductory call. We want to make sure that we're engaging our leads to get on the phone so they could start becoming prospects with us. If they don't get on a phone, they're not a prospect. Okay, they're not engaged. They're not really, they might be opening emails, but they're kind of like looky-loos. We actually want them taking action that we're directing. Don't assume just because they're in the database that they are actually a prospect. I know a lot of syndicators actually, they pride themselves on how many people they have in their database, but when they look at how many people are actually taking action within their database, it's actually the numbers are much lower. So what we want to do with investor onboarding is move them in or move them out. Okay. Now that's not so much like firing the investor or anything like that, but we want to make sure that we are very directed with our time and resources to help those people, engage those people that really align with us and that we can really truly impact their lives. So once you get off the call with somebody, that investor onboarding process starts immediately. And honestly, like I love executing the investor onboarding process while I'm on the call with an investor, because I will actually tell them while I'm on the call, hey, I've got this follow-up email for you. Let me send it to you right now. Okay, so I send them, I have it all queued up in a template, a very comprehensive investor onboarding email. I'm going to tell you what's in the email here in a second, so you guys don't jump ahead. But I actually want them looking at that email with me while I'm on the call. Because how many times you say, I'm going to send an email, and then you have like a little tracker system and you can see the person never opened the email. Again, this is all about getting them to take action with me. Okay. Because the more times that they can engage with me in a meaningful way, the more apt they are to buy. Now, okay, this onboarding system, again, is to turn them into a high quality prospect, right? And move them from that prospect into being an investor. So what does that mean we have to do? Is that we have to build trust, credibility, and transparency, okay? Now, I also say here, like, oh, it's okay to brag. So we also want to build in clicks too. And I'm going to tell you how to do that. Okay. Don't assume just because the investor will read your website, go back to their inbox and find that email, or log into a portal. I know portals are very, everybody has portals these days, which is great from a compliance and tracking standpoint. It's great for historical records. But when you're onboarding an investor, that portal is a tool to direct them to perhaps to find deals, but you want them taking a lot of steps in between there before just, not just engaging with the portal. Okay. You want to direct that engagement and direct those behaviors. But most importantly, keep it simple, stupid. Okay. Again, if you're just starting out, simplicity is key. All right. So in this investor email, a lot of people are like, well, okay, Whitney, what's in the email? So you want to send an automated email. So what I like doing, I like setting up templates. I've also gone into like a CRM system You can set it up with the tag, and just, maybe in HubSpot or Active Campaign, you can set up a tagged email that has all this information in there, in it. But in this email, it needs to have your company overview, your strategy, and your team. Now, here's the thing. I've seen emails that are super long that have all the information in it. What I think actually works better is to have a short email with a bunch of links out to the information and allowing that person to choose their own adventure. Now, if you're going to link out, I strongly encourage that, in your CRM system, that you are optimizing those links with a tag so you can see where people are engaging. Are they reading more about your company overview? Are they reading about your track record? Are they just hopping straight to your deals? Are they going into other resources that you're providing them as well? So make sure to track all those links for optimization and review that regularly. Okay, don't be afraid to continue to test and A/B test that email to where you get the max engagement with that investor. Okay, so we got the company overview, strategy, team. Make sure you link out to your track record. All right, if you're offering 506C deals, go ahead and link out to your current opportunities or list them right there in the body of the email. Now that means you have to keep that email up to date at all times, okay? But that's okay because you should be revisiting this email, regularly and keeping it up to date. And then link out to investor testimonials. This is a whole package. You're trying to head off about 85 to 95% of those questions that investors are going to have afterwards. Because when you're on that 15 to 20-minute call, most investors, they're hitting, it's a fire hose of information and they're trying to keep it all straight. So you want to make sure you give them a very organized email. That way they can go back and reference it. But what I like doing, okay, the point here is I actually like sending this to them while I'm on the call with them. So I can get them having a conversation with me about their goals and how I can help them, and not them frantically writing notes and tuning me out for the rest of the call. Okay, I want them knowing they've got a nice, neat little package here. Now, very important at the end of this email that we have a call to action. Again, remember, so by the end of this email, I should actually have already had 2 call to actions with them, or maybe 3. 1, they're on the call with me. 2, they've opened the email with me on the call. And 3, the email is going to have them make another call to action, read a prospectus, schedule a follow-up call with me, come to a weekly webinar, something like that. I want them engaging with me, not necessarily with a specific piece of content, unless it's a deal. Okay, so again, that call to action should be with another person, either in a group setting or in a one-on-one setting. All right. Now that's a little trick of the trade. I'm a limited partner investor myself. I would say 99% of limited or operators do not do that last piece. They send you an email and they say, if you're interested, hit reply, right? What I want them doing is actually engaging with me directly after that email. All right. Now, in reality, I send one big email. They're gonna like not read everything. They're not gonna absorb everything. So this is a really interesting tool that I've seen work really well. Is parse out that investor onboarding email into a short, like little 3, 4, 5 email series that comes very quickly. Again, this can be set up with the tag. The same tag you could, in your CRM, you could queue up investor onboarding. Boom, they get that investor onboarding email in their inbox. But it also is timed out to chunk out that email over 3 or 4 days. Now, you don't want to just send the exact same text over and over, all right? You're going to have to be a little bit creative and put a different spin and be like, oh, hey, here's another cool, interesting thing about our team. Awesome. This was our track record for 2022. Fantastic. Have you checked out our open deals? We got amazing things happening, right? Just quick, like little touch bases, because again, if you can get them to take 7 high quality touches and actions within a very short time period, your chances of converting them from a prospect into an investor shoot up. All right. All right. So again, this is kind of how to do it. Chop up that email, drip it over like 1.5, 2 weeks. Very small chunks, keep it light, fun, engaging, make it valuable to them, right? Try to anticipate the next question that they are going to have in their mind that would get them to yes. All right. Now, in this particular sequence, your call to action isn't necessarily to hop on a call with you. It could be, but I would always have a call to action here. And I drive it to what I call the always have something to invite people to offer. And that's a term from Michael Port from his book Yourself Solid. An amazing book if you guys haven't read it. But in this email sequence, you always want to kind of, maybe even you have a PS line and you direct them to, PS, we have a weekly webinar X, join here. Here's our podcast, review our current episodes here. Maybe you have a meetup. Now here's the key, only do one call to action here. Two that always have something to invite people to offer. What I see people, and it can change email to email, that's fine. But what I see happen is people have like 18 calls to offer, right? Like find us on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram. Oh, join a meetup. And, I don't know about you. If you go to a restaurant and there's 50, things on the item, I have a hard time trying to figure out what to order. But there's only one or two. Good. My choice is made for us. Made for me. I know what to do. All right. So guys, that's kind of wrapping up here. Again, this is, our system here, SpiderWeb, lead magnet, get to know your system. We talked about the investor onboarding system. We touched a little bit on the NUTURE, but we'll dive into that in a future episode on this MFIN webinar. But again, all 5 of these systems intermingle with each other to build that trust, credibility, and transparency that your investors are so desiring to see from you. All right. And here's your call to action. If you would like to, if you're a passive investor and you've joined us today, and you would like to learn more about us here at passiveinvesting.com and see our open deals, or just talk about all things real estate, scan this QR code and jump on a one-on-one call with me. I would love to talk to you. Tell you, what questions do we have? The chat is empty, guys. Come on. Let's see. Jason, is it possible to access past webinars in this series? Yeah, all of our webinars are posted on YouTube, correct? Tally, could you drop in the YouTube channel for the MFIN into the chat box? That would be amazing. Thank you. So, Jason, it's in there. Yeah, you're very welcome. Share the barcode. Do you mean the QR code, Dev? If you're looking for the QR code, there you go. Check that out. Yep, very cool. Got that. Rachel asks, what CRM do you recommend using? A lot of people start off with ActiveCampaign because it's a really, one, it's inexpensive. Two, it's fairly easy to set up. You can use it as it can be used as CRM system, notes, tagging. I would just encourage you to really dive into everything that it has to offer, as opposed to trying to find multiple solutions and piece them together. I see ActiveCampaign quite often. I see HubSpot. HubSpot can be pretty expensive and sometimes a little bit overkill for somebody starting out. But if you now have 7, 8, 10,000 investors in your database, HubSpot could be a good solution too. But ActiveCampaign, great tiering structures to get started out. So that would be kind of where I would start. Let's see, another question. If you only have an email, what are strategies to attain the phone number? Well, so Ryan, when you have your lead magnet on the website, you should be collecting the phone number with the lead magnet. You should never just have an email. Okay. So if you are, so for those of you who are not collecting phone numbers at your lead magnet, go back right now, today, on your form and start collecting phone numbers. Okay. Now you might get, phone numbers that are incorrect, right? That's possible. Okay. And, people mistype their phone numbers all the time, but at least, you're going to start probably like 80% of the phone numbers you collect are going to be correct. So do that right now. If you already just have emails and 0 phone numbers, you're going to have to send out a really compelling message to them to start collecting phone numbers in order to get that. Like schedule a one-on-one call with me, and then on your Calendly, appointment scheduler, you're going to collect the phone number, right? Even though you can just do a Zoom link, collect the phone number on that Calendly so you can send text messages. So that's another way to kind of go back and repopulate and get that phone number. Let's see, a lot of things. I'm going to switch to the chat really fast. See some people, it says passive investing you must be accredited to become an investor, meaning you have to have a net worth of $1 million. So Marty, we do work with accredited investors. We will have a Reg A fund opening up here. The last time I checked on the timeline, just a few days ago, probably like in the next 6 months, that Reg A fund, we will start accepting sophisticated investors, and they will begin investing alongside our deals. So stay tuned for that. Still worthwhile for you to join our list and us hop on our call so you can get to know us during this time. And that way, when that fund opens up, you're hitting the races, ready to go. How is the recent interest rate hike going to affect investor sentiment? I think it's going to depend on the type of asset that you're putting out there and the returns that it has. I think, interest rates, that we're about a year into this game. This is my personal opinion. I don't have a crystal ball. I think the Fed's going to continue to do what they need to do, what they feel comfortable with for decreasing, spending and stuff like that, getting inflation under control. But I think people are starting to, investors are starting to realize that there's still great, high quality assets out there to invest in. And right now, we aren't seeing that much of, reduction in investor sentiment. What we do see is that investors want high quality deals with very good risk mitigated lending, which you should always be doing. Good mitigation for vacancy and income growth. Okay, not getting swinging for the fences on that. And that if interest rates are locked, if there's an adjustable rate mortgage, rates are capped and extensions are already in place. You just want to make sure that if you can put out a deal that's well structured like that, and your investors understand how you're risk mitigating, that you are raising ample reserves and capital expenditures, you shouldn't have much of an issue raising capital from those investors. Let's see. Awesome, sufficient presentation. Yes, you're right, Richard, that could be a whole day workshop. Do any of the platforms like IMS, Juniper Square, InvestNow, Cashflow Portal, not have the complete tools, et cetera, to avoid needing active campaign or HubSpot? I have used InvestNext. That was one. I've used a couple of different portals. They lack the marketing function and the trackability and the ability to tag links. Now they're great for just generic communication and housing communication, but I think you lack the power in that CRM management. And I think they're growing those functions over time. I just don't think they're there yet currently. At least we're not seeing it there currently. To be able to, because again, when you start tagging those links, and that way you can tweak your email and your information that you're sending out to your investor, you're not going to get that type of data within these portals, because that's not what they're designed for. They're designed for compliance. They're designed for investor communication, not for marketing. And what we're actually talking about here is a marketing function. Wakefield, what are your most effective spider webs and lead magnets you use? I talked about, if you guys go back to the presentation, again, that's a whole other workshop. I did a presentation on spider webbing, your content. I love doing things by video and then using technology to convert that into blogs and social media posts and chopping it up for presentations and all that, and then getting that out across multiple platforms as possible. Lead magnets, I have just 1 or 2 lead magnets. When I do a presentation, say like to a group of doctors or a group of lawyers or something like that, I will craft a specific lead magnet that speaks to them. But I usually, for those type of presentations, I keep it's not a long ebook like what you'll see on our website, but it's usually, shorter, like 1 or 2 pages. Just some quick FAQs to kind of get them interested and get them to the website. So it's almost like a pre-lead to the lead magnet. A lot of leads come from LinkedIn. Where can I get the numbers? That is a great question. I think here in the next few weeks, our Director of Marketing, Melissa Broom, will be doing a presentation. That would be an amazing question for her, because I know she tracks all that. She knows where all of our leads come from based on LinkedIn and Facebook and all those sort of things. But that's kind of like another type of tracking plugin, I think, with ActiveCampaign. So not exactly my area of expertise, but it's worthwhile to know because now you're getting into social media. And I'm really talking about the information and how you touch the actual investor, but like that would be great to optimize your social media. All right, I think we got through all the questions there. Oh, another one. As a newbie, what would be your advice to hit the ground right away? Steps that can be taken. Newbie what, Dev? Newbie passive investor, newbie active investor. I think either way, you're in the right place, because if you're a newbie active investor, to multifamily investing, still, are you trying to do your own deal? Are you trying to invest in somebody else's deal? And you said either GP or LP. There's so much there, but I'm going to give you 2 tools. One, Multifamily Investor Nation. If you're looking to pick up your own multifamily building, like you're going to be the owner operator, even get into maybe like a little bit of like light raising, JV type stuff, maybe even some capital raising, Multifamily Investor Nation, sign up, stay plugged in. This is the place to be for all things on that. Go back, watch the webinars, go back and, maybe attend or go search and maybe attend a local meetup. We have Multifamily Investor Nation meetups. As an LP, I encourage you, you can join me at passiveinvestingwithwhitney.com. I've got an ebook there for you. We can jump on a one-on-one call. And so we can talk about that, as well as I do a masterclass called it right here, Passive Investing Made Simple Masterclass. And I also do boot camps. So that would be a great place for you to learn about limited partner investing. So those are your 2 resources, MFIN, Passive Investing Made Simple. I'll see you there, Dev. Any other questions, guys? Want to give it just another minute? You're very welcome. Yeah, so guys, if you have a question, make sure you're writing it in the Q&A box or in the chat box. That's the best place to do that. If you got a second to, more questions coming in, is the main goal to get to investors to call before they invest? I do. So in some projects, you actually have to get them on a call before you invest. If you're a 506, if your deal is a 506B deal, you have to actually have a pre-existing relationship with them. So you have to have met them one-on-one in person. You have to have had a call. You got to be taking notes in order for that to qualify. 2, if you are a 506C deal, like if you have 506C deals, well, now you can advertise. Do you have to get on the phone with your investors? Technically, no, but I can tell you from numbers, the investors that actually hop on a phone call with you are going to invest more often and more money. And so that is again, I would have them get on a call with you, start building out your team, once you can have that scale in place, and start building out your team to help you take calls. All right, guys, I just took a look at the time. We're at 9:30. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. This has been amazing. and we will talk to you soon. Have a great day.